That's on. Everything's on. Wow. We're so good. We're so good. I think we need to go live everywhere. Let's go live everywhere. Oh, this is the first time that we are broadcasting live on YouTube and on Instagram. Yeah, this is happening. Why? Because we do have an Instagram account, right? The Instagram account is called 2 Girls, 1 Electric Car. Same. So let me refresh this. See, am I streaming right now? What's happening? So I'm just on my social media. Make sure that you're there. Make sure that you're there to check it out in the real life manner. In real life. I'm still not seeing it though. But maybe, just maybe, it's because I'm logged in as myself. Well, whatever. Exactly, I don't see it there. So if there's comments, we'll do it over there. Yeah. Okay, perfect. Thank you for joining in while you wait. That's the podcast that entertains you while you wait for your electric car to charge up or for your lunch break to be over because you need to charge up too. We're all humans after all, Okay, so we are broadcasting live on YouTube and on our Instagram channel for now. We cannot yet do it on Facebook because Facebook needs 100 subscribers for us to be able to broadcast live. Now, I've done a live broadcast with Tessa on Facebook, on 2 Girls, 1 Electric Car, but for some reason, now there's a sort of, threshold. So we need 100 subs, which we don't yet have on Facebook. So if you're not following us on Facebook, make sure that you go follow us on Facebook. That way we can broadcast live from pretty much everywhere where we have social media accounts. That is just so that you're here live with us while the podcast is broadcasted live at 12 p.m. from Monday to Friday, Vancouver time. Oh yeah, super cool. If ever you miss it, don't worry, you can tune in to the podcast playlist, which is on YouTube. On our channel, it's called While You Wait. If ever you want a lot more, what is all of this, actual propaganda, Piper? I know, it's because I need to tell you all that's been happening. So what has been happening is that we are starting to distribute our podcast everywhere. Yeah, everywhere where you listen to your podcast. You know, like all the normal people say? Yeah, all these ones. So everywhere where you listen to your podcast, you will be able to listen to While You Wait. The podcast. Super cool, right? But the thing is, to make that happen, we depend on your support. Yes, from all of our amazing Patreon. So you can go support us on patreon.com/2girls1electriccar. Now, we made a new tier, and that is the podcast distribution tier. So we are distributing our podcast right now with Libsyn. I know, it's like Liberated Syndicate. Yeah, that's kind of what it's called, but it's for short Libsyn. So it's the cheapest one, and that will give us will make us able to broadcast our podcast everywhere except Apple. Except Apple. Apple Podcasts cost another thing. For $16.80 USD. So you can sponsor or support the podcast distribution for 1 month on our Patreon. Patreon.com/2girls1electriccar. Go at it right now. I actually put it in the live comment description on YouTube. Yeah. Super cool. So you can be one of these people who supports the podcast in being everywhere. We are still working on putting the podcast on Apple Podcasts, yes, because it's an extra cost of $24.99 per year, which is okay. We have our Patreons, we can do it, but the thing is, it needs some special permissions and things like that. So we're still sorting through this, but not to worry. You can hear the podcast on YouTube under the podcast playlist While You Wait, or you can go to Spotify. Yeah, in the video description of this video, I put the podcast playlist for Spotify, so if ever you're there. We're also everywhere else, but just so you know, so far Apple Podcasts and Spotify, those have been the best that were recommended to us by you. Yeah, what's happening?
One viewer.
We got one viewer on Instagram. Thank you for tuning in. Yes, so we are broadcasting this live on Instagram and YouTube, both of our social media. We have RA. Bumblebee.
2012 Bumblebee.
2012 Bumblebee. Thanks for tuning in. We got 2 viewers. 2 viewers on Instagram. We're getting so famous. Super cool. Okay, so RA says, gasoline for sure. I would miss the sound of engines. What are we talking about, Piper? What are we talking about? We're talking about battle. Electric versus gasoline motorcycles. Yeah, we're going there. We talked about EV cars, we talked about gasoline cars, but we haven't talked about electric motorcycles yet. Oh, this is gonna be so intense and so crazy. Carl says, I do not have Facebook. Okay, don't worry, Carl. Carl, you can support us everywhere else because we are pretty much everywhere with this podcast. And then Douglas Dauntless says FED announced no rate cut except continued inflation.
It's a big thing right now. The Fed announced something.
Yeah, so it's US. We here in Canada have something different. We have the taux directeur de la Banque du Canada. I think it's the same thing. So that's what we have here, and they actually stabilize stuff. So it's pretty good here in Canada. But I mean, everybody's freaking out. Everything is too expensive right now, right? It's like you don't have enough money. I mean, donuts are expensive. Yeah, donuts were expensive. I went to that place like Lee's Donut Shop here in Vancouver. It's like famous and it's very touristy and very just, Vancouverite, whatever. But the donuts were, with a tip. With a tip. Box of 6 donuts, that's half a dozen. It cost me $19.25 Canadian dollars. Imagine that. I know you can get them at Timmy's or Tim Hortons for the intimates or less intimates. For about $13.99, so $14, you can have a dozen. I had half a dozen. I think it was $17.25 before taxes and tip and everything, which cost me $19.25 for 6 donuts. And quite frankly, they're not that good. Yeah, I know some people prefer cake donuts and stuff like that, but Tim Hortons donuts are way better. These ones were like stale donuts, like a bit hard, and they just break down. And I even took the strawberry raspberry one. I don't remember, but it was pink, but it did not taste like pink, which was very disappointing. Yeah, this is a very disappointing thing to do. Why are we talking about donuts? Because we're talking about inflation. And, we're talking about donuts and inflation because we are talking about electric versus gasoline motorcycle. Because after you eat all these donuts, you need to do some type of sport. And you know what happened? When I was younger, you would see these people do some motorcycle and you're like, you don't have to be really fit to do that, right? It's like, you got motorcycle. You're actually you're not literally doing a physical activity, right? But then I got my license. And that changed my perception of everything and everything. Carl says, ouch, and Tim Hortons rules. Well, it's a big company, right? So they're able to offer cheaper prices in that sense. New tears of joy. I'm not sure what you're talking about, Snoopy, but yeah, let's have tears of joy. It's always cool. So, Piper, do you ride motorcycles? Yes, I do have my driver's license, and that is why the picture that you can see of me, if you're looking or listening to the podcast, but mostly looking at it on YouTube, I have an iPad right there next to me on my right-hand side, and on this iPad, there's a picture of me literally riding what used to be my motorcycle. Yeah, hello, Kawasaki. It's right there. So that's me. Real picture of me taking oh my God, how many years back? Maybe 9 years? Yeah, 9 years. 9 years. Probably 9 years. Tim Hortons, $9.39 for 6 donuts. Just a year ago, it was $7.50. Crazy inflation. See, plus the donuts are smaller, right? It's reduflation. Do we have a comment on Instagram?
Bumblebee says Harley Davidson Lime Warrior electric motorcycle. That's how this guy and this other guy made their love.
Yeah. Okay, Harley Davidson. We are going to talk about Harley Davidson. We're going to talk about KTM. The LimeWire from Harley Davidson is an electric motorcycle. Yeah. So, first things first, what I want to do for this podcast is actually tell a little bit of story, what I do with motorcycles, and then we'll get into it actually, thank you, Bumblebee, we'll get into, the motorcycles that you can purchase right now that are electric, because you've got choices, people, you've got choices, but it all really depends on what type of motorcycle you ride. So that's what we're gonna start with. I guess that's a child's bike in the picture. No, it's not a child's bike. It's a big bike. Look at me on it. It's not an 80cc. What are you talking about? This is street legal. Plus, actually, that's freaking heavy. When you drop it, which you do, because you do hard enduro or you're in a sand pit. Yeah, it's a 250. It's not a child's bike. Over 250, you're not a child anymore. Okay?
Over
125, I mean, you're still a child. But when you go 250, you need a license. You need a license for 250 and above, so not a child. Not a child. If a child can ride it, so that 80cc, 125, but once you go 250, you need a license here in Canada to ride it. So, Hack of all trades, say KLX. Oh yeah, that's like the big brother of the KLR. 400. Well, 400 is definitely a lot more cc's. It's a lot more powerful. You woo, and then whee, you go up that hill, yeah? Just look far away. So this is definitely what happens. I mean, okay, hello, Michael Looters. Thank you, everybody, for tuning in. This is Piper on the podcast While You Wait. Because while you wait for your EV to charge or for your wife to be done groceries, I'm here to entertain your ears and your mind with awesome EV news. So we're going to talk about the battle between electric and gasoline motorcycles. This is all happening. Douglas Dauntless says, I rode a YZ80 as a kid. It was pretty fast. Well, yeah.
You're 7 years old.
Yeah, when
it's fast.
80 cc's is huge when you're like 50 pounds, right? I mean, this is the thing. But when you're 100 pounds, you can't. 80 is just not enough. Plus, it's so small. It is not gonna bring you nowhere. Of course you're fast. Exactly. You're like a meter high and you're like 50 pounds. So yeah, it's gonna go fast. It's all about proportion, people. It's all about proportion. This Kawasaki 250 with me weighing 120 pounds, that was pretty good. But the thing is, so there's different things, So this bike is pretty heavy. Like the Kawasaki 250 is pretty heavy. It's not a KTM. It's not. Some people say, oh yeah, it's a race bike, but not really, because it's not a motocross. It can go on the street because it's street legal, but you can also bring it in the dirt if you want to. Meaning that you can't sit on it for a long time because it hurts your ass a lot. It's not meant for sitting down. It's meant for being up. This one was pretty comfortable compared to the KTM. I mean, mushy seat. It's pretty wide, but still, when I used to go from Montreal to like this place that was like an hour and we need to ride there on the highway, not comfortable at all. You don't want to do that. You want to be in the wood with this one. Javier, what's up? And then Snoopy says 1 liter high. 1 liter? How tall is that? What do you mean? 1 meter. I said 1 meter. Snoopy has a lot of difficulty understanding my Canadian accent for some reason. EDM. I wish Can-Am would come out with an electric Spider F3. Oh, so you would buy a Spider. That would be kind of a good thing, I think, because you don't really go on big, because you don't. That could be nice because you don't really go on big road trips with like the Spider, right? This is more like a bike that you take out on Sunday to go to a picnic or something like that. That's what people do. So I think that makes a lot of sense. Thank you for saying hi to everybody in the live comment section. Yeah, it adds a lot of fun in there. Woo-hoo. And thanks for tuning in. Make sure that you share this video /podcast with everybody you know. There's a share arrow right underneath there. We are broadcasting live on our Instagram, which has the same name, 2 Girl 1 Electric Car. And you can always tune in to the podcast because it is broadcasted live from Monday to Friday at 12 p.m. Vancouver time. This is so cool. Okay, so on the picture, it's me on an actual Yamaha. Yeah, I know. I said Yamaha to confuse you. It's actually Kawasaki, but you need to know that there's a Honda, Kawasaki, and actual Yamaha. They all do kind of the same bike. It's like 250. It has blinkers. It's just the color that changed. It's really heavy. I mean, it's made for the street, so it's street legal, but you can move on it. So that's what I used to ride. Of course, I did my driver's license with this like small Suzuki, and then I think I did like the actual like on the road test with a I think it was a Honda because I rented it, and it was like 1,000 something. So that went fast, a bit too fast. When I took the curve to get on the highway for my test, I almost did not pass the test because I thought, whoa, this can't go fast. So I just kind of, I went pedal to the metal. But went with my bike. So the driving instructor, when we came back, was like, well, you didn't need to take the highway like branch that fast. I was like, yeah, no, I didn't. But I did. So they still gave me my license and I'm good to actually ride. But I have to confess, because we're talking about electric versus gasoline motorcycles, I've never ridden an actual electric motorcycle. Have you? Let's have a poll. Let's have a poll.
Yes,
Have you ever done this?
We need a stinger for that one. Let's
Have
have a poll.
you rode a electric motorcycle? I'm getting there. I think there's no mistakes in this one. Yes, no. Start poll. So have you ever ridden an electric motorcycle? Because I haven't. I have touched...
Bicycle don't count.
Yeah, no, bicycle don't count. We're talking motorcycle. Like motorcycle, not bicycle, okay? Do e-bikes count? No, they don't count, hack of all trades, because it's not like... That's not 100cc, right? That's
We
it.
need something that can go on the highway.
Yeah, something that can go on the highway. I know some of these bikes can, but we're talking motorcycle. We're talking motorcycle. So that being said, I've never ridden one, but I have experience with this one, like the Kawasaki 250, and with a KTM EXCF 350. This is dash 350. This is so complicated. This is guy math, right? Why do cars and things like computers back in the day and stuff like that? It's just letters and numbers. Like you can actually retain this. No, you can't. It's too confusing. It's way too confusing. It's way better if things have names. Like, you know, when Steve Jobs said, oh, this computer's gonna be called Lisa. Yeah, way easier than Commodore 64. That one's pretty good. But there was like other ones that was 72E-D35-3. What? This is not something you can recall, people. It's like, you know, in your exam in mathematics, even the formulas are easier to recall than these names. Just like the tools, right? Milwaukee tools and all that. It's so confusing. Just find it a name. George. Everybody can remember George. It's way easier that way. So George is easier that way. It's easier that way. Okay, so this is me on the motorcycle. So I've got street cred. I've got a whole bunch of credentials. I have credibility now. Captain Kirk advertised for Commodore 64. Had no idea you were that old.
Long time ago.
Of course, I was probably not born. Probably not born. It doesn't mean I don't know about things. It's called culture, people. You can know things even though you weren't born. Japanese made bicycles for short people. Okay, but that's good to know. I mean, how short? How short? Are we talking like Lord of the Rings dwarfs? Or are we talking like just people under 5 feet? Because this is completely different. Douglas Dauntless says, is the 72V Suron a motorcycle? No idea what that is. Like, okay, real motorcycles, people. Like a motorcycle, you know, it has flashers. It can go on the highway. Like a motorcycle. You need a helmet, whatever. You know what a motorcycle is. I don't need to conceptualize it for you. I mean, it's already all up there. I'm going to show you images of motorcycles. Like that one on the video thing. This is a motorcycle. You can kill yourself on it. This is the interesting stuff. So let me get back to my actual Safari. Bam, bam, bam. Motorcycles. So they should look like this. This electric bike, not a motorcycle. Electric bike is not a motorcycle. You need a motorcycle. So we're talking motorcycle. I don't know how to. It's big wheels, you know, like things, whatever. You know what a motorcycle is. I don't even know what I am explaining myself. So let's get right down to this subject. It's a motorcycle. Okay, what? Yeah, what is a motorcycle? Are you ready for this? Because it seems to be so confusing. So what is a motorcycle? Okay, so there are, in my opinion, I think... Okay, we're gonna say 4 types of motorcycles. Yeah, you ready for this? 4 types of motorcycles. So now we're gonna do as things most people don't like. We're gonna generalize. Okay, we're gonna generalize. We're not gonna freak out on crazy details and all that. No, we're gonna generalize. So first motorcycle will definitely be something that goes on the highway. You know, Highway 66, Harley Davidson, huge thing. It's heavier than your car. But it doesn't have any AC, no roof, the radio just wee. So okay, the sort of like highway motorcycle, that'd be one sort of motorcycle. Harley Davidson definitely in there. Okay, so like you can have your wife, your kid, I mean your dog, you can have everybody on there. This is so big. It has has cruise control. I mean, this is like, it's not a motorcycle anymore.
Self-balance.
It's an RV. Yeah, it's self-balance. This is so big. But you can only go straight, right? You can't turn corners with that one. This is exactly what we're talking about. So, motorcycle type number 1. It's like a cruising motorcycle, you know? You want to sightsee. You're on the highway. Hills and Jules. Yeah, that type of motorcycle. Okay, so that's number 1. It can be a chopper. I mean, that would kind of work. We're talking highway motorcycles. So to eat some asphalt. Is that even a name in English?
Crotch rocket.
Okay, that's gonna be another type.
Okay.
That's gonna be another type. Okay, so first type. First type has to be something that you do long distances on like this. Okay. Yes, another type would be crotch rockets. Meaning the motorcycles that go super fast. And you're like, you're not sitting on them, you're actually riding them like on top of them. You're like
Making love.
you're making love to it. You're not cowgirl, not reverse cow. You're like you're sleeping on them. You that what's that position when you're like on the motorcycle? That position. So that being said, yeah, missionary. So the missionary motorcycle. So you have the missionary motorcycle, which would be something like not like this, but let's see. Oh, like this. This would be a missionary motorcycle. See this? You're more than leaning on it. You're like actually sleeping on it. That would make a lot of sense. So that's one other type of motorcycle. Then we have everything that's related to hard enduro or motocross. Meaning, like these guys that do jumps. Woo! Like these guys. Or when you do, hard enduro, you're in the woods, right? You're in sand pits, in the woods, in rocks. I mean, you don't go hiking. You take your bike up the mountain.
You take your bike to hiking.
You take your bike hiking. That's what hard enduro is.
That's what it is.
Yeah, hard enduro is like taking your bike hiking. So that's like the third type of bike, right? Third type of bike. So we got the big Harleys that are just like, whoa, cruising. We got the crotch rockets. Those guys go so fast. And then we got like the people that don't like to be on the roads. They're not actually on the roads. They're in the forest, in the woods, whatever. They're like in the sand pits. They don't even need blinkers. They don't need them. They don't have them.
It's broken.
It's broken anyway because it falls and it... Exactly. So there's no problem there. So these would be the 3 types. But then we have another type, which I'm going to mention here. And if you have more, please do say. But we're not saying electric, non-electric. We're just going over like the type of motorcycles that you could possibly purchase. And then we'll go deeper into all of the ones that we mentioned to see like what would be the advantage of having it electric versus not electric. Okay? So let's do this. The other one I would say would be like one of these tiny practice bikes. It's called a trial, but I don't know what's that called in English. So these ones don't even have seats.
It's the goat of motorcycles.
It's the goat of motorcycles. So this one is really only, it's called a trial in French, and it's really only to do like ploop, ploop, ploop. So you go on rocks, you bounce everywhere. You're like a goat on a motorcycle. And usually you would take these ones to get really better at doing hard enduro or doing like precision type of motorcycling. Like, jumps or going up rocks or like stairs. You want to go climb stairs with your motorcycle? Start with that one. It's smaller, but it still has like the clutch and the woo 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 and the speed. It has everything like that.
It's trial.
It's trial, so it's the same thing. Trials motorcycle. So yeah, these ones would be to like practice your skills more. So usually you don't take them for long rides. It's not like that. You take them parkour, right? So you become better with them. So that gives, I think, a good idea of the 4 ones. So what else do you think would be in there? Because I think this is kind of like the 4 types of motorcycles out there. So you got the cruising one, like Harley Davidson for long rides on Route 66. You got the crotch rocket for like the guys, the girls that just want to be like making love to their motorcycles and going super speed. And then, you would have everything that is not on the road. So everything that is in sand pits, mountain, rocks, Red Bull crazy people, crazy Russians, I mean, all that type of people. And trials, which is like a little bike that's more for, testing it out, for becoming better with your skills. Let's go to the live comment sections because I'm Piper and you're listening to While You Wait, the podcast that aims to entertain you and talk about electric versus gasoline motorcycle. Maybe the time that you get to have your actual driver's license for a motorcycle, you'll be able to tune in and listen to all of our podcasts. Woohoo! Okay, now Javier says, if American motors go vroom vroom, then French one goes room room. I know sounds sound different in every language because of phonetics, but I don't know. For me, a car goes vroom vroom. I don't know how you hear that, but that's how a car goes. Some people say zoom, zoom for some reason, but I don't hear that at all. KV says all 4 cruisers, sport bike, dual sport, and dirt bikes. What's dual sport versus sport?
Dual sport, I think it's enduro.
Is enduro? Yeah, enduro. Yeah, because it has blinkers, but you can also go in the forest with it because it has the tires with spikes, right? Because you can take an actual motocross, like a dirt bike, and convert it to street legal, like put it big tires and be super badass with it. I've seen people do that, but I haven't done it yet. Hack of all trades says the lines are blurry with e-bikes and electric motorcycles in the buyer's market of off-road. Ooh, this is interesting. See, we also bring you real facts sometimes. It happens. It's there. Sometimes we do that. Okay, what about the old people ride in the parking lot? Some are fast. Oh yeah, you're talking like these like 4-wheelers with the batteries. Yeah, those are really fast. But okay, we are talking motorcycle. So two wheels. It has to have the chassis. So the chassis of a motorcycle, meaning a bicycle does not have the same chassis as a motorcycle. No, so e-bikes don't count. I know it can be a bit confusing and complicated, but it's pretty easy. Does it look like a motorcycle? Yes or no? And don't give me that thing when you were a child, you bought a bicycle and there was some plastic things on top of it to make it look like a dirt bike. That doesn't count either, okay? We're talking motorcycles that look and feel like motorcycles. Then they're electric or they're gasoline powered, even though some motorcycles are gasoline and something else because they're dirt bikes. So they're 2-time motors. Yeah, I know some stuff, people. I know some stuff. This is so interesting. Okay, so I think we went over the 4 types of motorcycles out there. Now that we know. Let's get to our point number 2. Yeah, I got cute cars. I mean, this is legit podcast, people. It's legit podcast. Plus, you can find us on Spotify now. Yeah, we're there. Because of our awesome Patreon who are supporting us, we're able to pay for the distribution of this podcast. So for the podcast to be distributed everywhere where you listen to your podcast. So make sure that you go to our patreon.com/2girls1electriccar to support us distributing the podcast to more awesome people who like to talk about EVs or anything related to it. So ease of use. Let's talk about ease of use. So we got our 4 types of motorcycles, right? So we got them. The 4 of them are there. And see, they can look like this, they can look like this, they can look weird. It's fine. There's like many type of motorcycles out there. But what makes a motorcycle and what's the differences between how they work? Because the thing is, if you're to convert or to produce a new motorcycle that would be electric, well, what would be the pros and cons of that, right? Because some people might be like, no, I don't want one. We'll get there. Don't freak out. We'll get there. To the why I don't want one or why I want one. You'll get my personal opinion on this at the end of the podcast. So you better stay right here with your AirPods in. Or, I don't know, some people don't like to put it in. So just put normal headphones. It's fine. You don't always need to put it in. We respect that. Consent is important. Okay, so we got 17% of people who actually rode EV bikes. This is going to be interesting. Make sure that you make yourself heard in the actual comment section because we want your opinion on how it felt very soon. Now, ease of use. So if you are more cruising, right? Usually these cruising bikes or all these like bikes that are not dirt bikes, let's call it like that, they have a key. So you turn the key and then it starts. You don't need a crankshaft. You don't need to like crank it, right? Except for dirt bikes. The dirt bikes are something else. And even my Kawasaki, where is it? It's somewhere in there. Even the Kawasaki I had did not have a crank. It's so sometimes if you drop it and you leave it on the ground too long, it doesn't start because you know the gas goes back up and it says it doesn't like it. It doesn't like to go reverse, you know? The fluid should go down, not up. So you need to leave it up a little bit and then you need to try to, and then it works and it doesn't work. But the KTM, like the KTM dirt bike off-road, like a dual road, I guess they're called, these ones, that dual sport. But these ones, they sometimes have a crank. Is that how you call it? Crankshaft, right? They have a crankshaft. So if you're dirt biking, you have a crankshaft. Meaning that, yes, you have a key, you turn the key, but you also have the crankshaft. Meaning that this is a completely different type of like starting your bike, right? You have to like press it or jump on it. However.
Press more than 100.
And yeah, you need to weigh more than 120 pounds because sometimes I couldn't do it. It was too much, so I need to put my 2 feet on it. Yeah, kickstart. That's the word for it. That's the word. Kickstart. So these ones have kickstarts, meaning completely different. So if you take the kickstart versus the not kickstart, well, what's the difference in an EV? There would be no kickstart, right? So you need to consider this. If you're already having like Harley Davidson and you're cruising and you got your wife and your dog in the sidecar. Your wife's not in the sidecar, right? She's behind you. The dog's in the sidecar. You can reverse that depending on how much you like your wife right now. It doesn't matter. But the thing is, you have the cruise control, you have the music, you have line assist. Your bike almost drives itself. So having it EV or not EV would be maybe more of a question of sound. We'll get to that very soon. But as far as getting the bike started, it's already electric, right? Every time you put the key in the thing and you turn it, that's an electric thing. It's not actually like in these old movies where you see all these mechanisms. No, that's electric. That's how we do it. It's an electric part of your motorcycle or your car. But then when it comes to the kickstart or the crankshaft or however you want to call it, well, that's completely manual. There's no electricity that goes in there. You're literally pumping it so that it starts. So that would be removed in an electric motorcycle. And would you be okay with that? Well, for somebody small like me, maybe. For other people, it doesn't look as badass. It looks pretty cool when you're like cranking away or kickstarting away.
It could be like a software.
It could be a software.
Once in a while doesn't stop.
Oh, so it could be like a software that's like that's
in 2 minutes.
That's it's random, right? So sometimes it doesn't work. Just like the freaking kickstart. Sometimes it doesn't work. You just you go with it. So let me like find you, for those of you who don't know what I'm talking about, kickstart KTM. There it is. So it's a big pole, but we can see it good here. It's like, so right here it's kind of hidden, so you need to pull it out because you don't ride with that, right? That'd be kind of in the way of the trees and the rocks. So you pull it out and then you kind of jump on it, right? You jump on it, bam, jump on it, and
because you wait.
well, yeah, I have to jump on it because I wait too little. Maybe now it'd be okay. Well, donuts, people, donuts. But that being said, it makes a lot of sense. You can also bump start a gas MC. What does that mean, bump start? Like you fist bump it and then bam, it starts?
You push it a bit.
Oh, you push it. Okay, you push it. Yeah. Okay, I've done that with old scooters. Yeah, back in the day. You kind of, you just run and then it starts. Yeah. I know what you mean. See, so we got some experts here in the live comment section.
Your KLX. You could like.
Yeah, so the KLX. Yeah, we could push it a little bit and then it would start. You know that time I did not have gas anymore? That happened to me once. Never with a car, but with my bike. That happened to me with my bike. I was like, why did it just stop? Like, why? But it had like a visible gas tank, so you could see. And then I was like, oh yeah, there's no more gas. That's why I stopped. There's no more gas because these tanks on these like motorcycles are so small for like dual sport bikes and dirt bikes. I mean, they need to be lightweight, right? Because that's the point. So you want to either have gas with you or have a gas station pretty close, because they're not made for like huge extended ranges. They're made for a few hundred kilometers max, like maybe 200. That's it. You want to like stay close and do things there. They're made for you to go in the wood, not to like go on huge excursions on the highway for hours and hours. Because anyway, I mean, your fingers, you can't feel them if you go on the highway too long. It hurts. You know, like these guys that are like with the concrete? It does exactly that to your fingers when you go motorcycling on the highway with a dual sport bike or a dirt bike. Maybe because of the tires, maybe because it's not made for that. It's awful. You feel like you don't have, like you have electricity in your hands for some reason. Every time you touch your hand, it goes zzz, zzz, just like this. It's the weirdest sensation ever. I don't recommend it. I don't think it's good. I don't think it, but it happens, and it happened to me a lot. Okay, perfect. So let's move on to speed. Speed and acceleration. Yeah, I know you want to talk about speed and acceleration. Why? Because, well, that would be, right, the main difference between having an electric motorcycle or a gasoline motorcycle. Douglas Dauntless says, I had a Vespa P200E. Oh, interesting. And then, okay, Douglas Dauntless is saying that the Lambretta is cooler. BMW motorcycles look nice. I mean, there's a huge thing with BMW, right? So there are, when you go into motorcycles, it's like cars, but worse, like a lot worse. So people are like branded with their motorcycles. So if you have a BMW, you go to the BMW clan. If you have a KTM, you're in the KTM clan. So there's clans for things. It's like groups of people, and then they do like special rides together with the same type of bicycle, or like we're talking motorcycle, but in French we call them bikes, so it's the same thing but different. So meaning that if you're a BMW guy or girl, well, you're in the BMW type of things, and you do the rides of the BMW. It's very racist. It's very, very racist. It's so true. It's so true, right? So racist. So that being considered, when you do purchase a motorcycle, you need to know what you're buying, because some people will not hang out with you just because you don't have the same brand of motorcycle as them. Since I'm a girl, didn't matter. I was okay in all groups and clans, but when you're a guy, it's completely different. So just know that girls are like in a minority, like very, very minor minority of bike riding people, especially in hard enduro and dual sport or dirt biking, because you can't ride backseat, right? Not a good idea. So that being said, I ride my own bike when I do that. So that, like, I don't know, for some reason that creates a lot more appeal. That you can ride your own bike. So a lot more men than women in this type of hobby. So just putting it out there, if you're a guy and you're looking to get into the motorcycle, like hard enduro hobby, well, just know which type of bike you want, like motorcycle you're gonna buy and which brand, and what you want to do with it, right? Because if you're gonna go in the woods, a BMW 650, that's like it's heavy. You're gonna drop it. You're saying, no, I'm never gonna drop it. Unless you're 6'5", and your bike is like tiny for you, it's an 80cc, you're gonna drop it. You're gonna drop it. The whole point of going in the woods is to drop the bike. You're gonna lose a flasher. You're gonna lose. I actually, like, I don't know, I kind of tailgated my motorcycle for some reason. So the actual like handlebars, they were so screwed up. Like one of them was not parallel anymore. It wasn't. So I had to ride all the way back with this kind of tilt in my handlebars. Yeah, crooked, exactly, crooked handlebars. So this is what happens when you ride hard enduro. When you ride it. So either you have a trailer to be able to put your bike that has no more mirrors, no more side, that has dented like the exhaust pipe, and the handlebars are all crooked, or well, you just ride it like that back home. You decide to suffer however you want. But the thing is, if you're looking into getting into like, oh yeah, you know what, Piper? I would love to do a bit more trail. You know, you want to be a bit adventurous. You like the adventure. Well, this is all very cool. But the heavier the bike, the more harder it's going to be for you to pick it up. And since I'm a girl, it's okay. I didn't have to pick up mine. But you're a guy, so you're going to have to pick up yours. I just waited for somebody to come and help me out. Plus, the Kawasaki was really heavy. I was able to pick it up sometimes, but sometimes, you know what happens? It's called gravity, and you fall on the other side of the hill. So your bike falls on the other side of the hill, meaning your bike's handles go on the other side of the hill. So to get it back up, you need to do almost a 180-degree tilt. And this is very, very complicated. It's very difficult. It takes a lot more manpower. When I say man, I mean men. I mean like literal men. So I would get a lot of help a lot of the times because it was too heavy for me to get it back up. So yes, I tried not to fall down, to not like, you know, make guys carry or push my bike, but it's gonna happen to you. It's gonna happen to you. To pick it up, there is a trick for it. Yeah, there is a trick for it. It's called call a friend. Because like seriously, you don't want to pick up a bike. You don't want to do that. It's really heavy. Like alone, you can, and you need to use your legs. Of course, I know all of this, but it's so sometimes. And then there's rocks and there's stuff, and you got your gear, right? You're all geared up. So it's quite of a sport. You're like, oh yeah, people who do hard enduro and dirt bike, they don't sweat. I think we sweat more. Like a lot more. Because when it's 30 degrees out, you're doing hard enduro and you drop your bike, you get like, I would remove my helmet and it would drip. Like literally drip. I know some people are like, why, Piper, sell me that drip. No, I will not do that. I mean, it might be salty and delicious, but I won't do it. So bike weighted like 50 pounds. Oh no, my bike must have weighed like at least 150 pounds. At least. Let's Google this. So if we Google KLX 250 weight. See, it's in the Google recommendation. How much does it weigh? That's the KLX 250. It says 134 kilograms. That's kilograms. That's like 200 pounds, people. I weigh 130. When I'm really in shape, 125. So this is more than what I weigh. Just so you know. Falling downhill can either deadlift 200 pounds or just flip it over again so the bars are uphill. Yeah, you still need to be able to get it there. So that's why some people choose the very sleek KTM or Husqvarna. or the Honda, Kawasaki, or Yamaha, but dirt bikes. So no road safety there. You can't go on the road with it. Well, you can until you get caught, right? And so they choose these ones because they are lighter, but not just are they lighter. I mean, I rode a few of them. Their torque is instant. I mean, even if you didn't change the gear, like the gear wheel, even if you didn't change one of those, they still go in a wheelie like super fast. Like they go in a wheelie. They're made to be on one wheel. They're not meant to be on two wheels. My actual Kawasaki, it was more meant to be on two wheels, you know? You go on one wheel if you're really crazy, but you don't need to be on like one wheel. KTM's meant for one wheel. I think that's like the right way to put it. KTM, one wheel. You don't want to be on two wheels, never. And you don't want to sit on it. There's a bench there. It's not meant for you to sit on it. No, you need to stay up all the time. Hack of all trades says it's hard to pick up after the wind gets knocked out of you. Yeah, that too, right? So you just get like propelled. You hit a tree, and then you're like, oh, I need to lift up my bike. I'm just going to take a little break here and wait for guys to arrive. That's why they always put me up front. So that, you know, when I drop, they know. It's just very interesting. So, could the actual EV bikes compete with the non-EV bikes? We're talking race here. So if you do dirt bike races and things like that, would you put an EV bike with a non-EV bike? Like, would you actually do that? I know that if you're just cruising with your friends or you're doing something like that, I mean, I would definitely do that. It wouldn't really matter. Then it's all about range, right? And it's all about charge time. But what if Red Bull decides to do a race? Because they do have the hard enduro race. I'm going to show you right here. So these are crazy people from Red Bull hard enduro race. If you're like, oh, this mountain is not steep, this is because 2D just doesn't do justice to like how steep mountains are, in general. But that being said, let's do a little poll. So do you think they should compete in separate races? So race with EV and ice together, exclamation mark, together, yes, no. So do you think that they should race together, or do you think they should race separately? Now, I'm saying this because of a few things. Well, first things first, because of the instant torque, right, that an EV would have, and also because there's many things that make it different. But again, I guess if you're a driver and you want to ride your EV and you're more comfortable on an EV, what would that change? So let's see. The poll is running. Race with EV and ICE together, yes or no? I feel like there's something outside that's going crazy for some reason.
Manhattan.
Downtown Manhattan, stuff is always happening, people. Stuff is always happening.
I think they should race together.
You think they should race together? Why?
Because I would take an EV.
Because you would take an EV. Well, because EVs are completely different, right?
Lighter, are they lighter?
Well, that's our next point. That's our next point. Are EV bikes lighter or not? So far, people are saying that yes, 60% yes, should ride together. So EVs and ICE vehicles ICE motorcycles, should be able to race together. Well, that makes a lot of sense. But let me tell you, why this would be weird, okay? Because I got some facts here. So the thing is the weight distribution of an EV bike versus an ICE bike is completely different. So the way the battery is makes the experience, like the driving experience, completely different. Then, of course, you need the charging time and all that. But I don't know.
What more about like the weight distribution?
It says that it's different.
It's just different.
It's just different. So it's like, maybe if you're on a skateboard versus a longboard, not the same gravity. So the weight distribution is different, like totally different. Okay, it's cool. It's because I'm trying to find a new PA and they're texting me. Perfect. So that being said, there is a difference between the battery weight and gasoline, right? So gasoline, even when your tank is there, you can kind of feel it sometimes. You can feel like the liquid in the tank, right? This is the thing too. It's not crazy, but it happens.
I have
more questions.
So they say it's different.
The center of gravity is different.
But is it better or not better?
But I don't know. Maybe some people will find it better, right? I don't know. So what do you think? Leave a comment. I'm Piper and you're listening to While You Wait, the podcast that aims to entertain you. Oh yeah! While you wait to guide. Yes.
That means that, a champion on motocross, you give him an electric bike, it's not going to win.
Well, there's a chance he's not going to win if you give a champion an electric motorbike. Because they're different, right? They're different. But again, I mean, we've seen F1 drivers be in soapboxes. So maybe they didn't win either. But maybe that would be different. So the thing being said about this is that some people prefer some certain type of bikes. And I know with my Kawasaki, I mean, some people were changing their seats. They were changing their handlebars. They were changing their pegs. Not that type of peg, other type of pegs. So to adjust so that you could, there was even changing the suspension. Because like I'm a girl and I'm pretty tall. I think I'm like 5'5" on a good day. Now with, like on a good day, when I decide to stand straight. Okay, definitely 5'5" and a half, like 5'5" and a half. So this is pretty good for a woman in Canada. I'm kind of a little bit above average, but not that bad. But on a KTM, I mean, this is high. This bike is high. So usually need to have like suspension lowered, or I need to always find an apple box to lean in. So I would always have one leg way up there, and I would hold the bike and be on my tippy toes. So this is things that are interesting because people usually customize their bikes more than vehicles. I feel because you're really on it, right? You're really touching it and you're really feeling it. So if I can't get on the bike, I mean, I can't ride it. And then if every time I need to stop, I'm just dropping the bike because I'm too short and I can't hold it at a light or at any moment in time, well, you need to adjust it for you. So an electric bike, I think, would just need the same similar adjustment. But I do feel that some people would be more comfortable on an actual EV than on a gas bike, just because, yeah, the distribution of weight is different. So your center of gravity is different. And already men and women have different center of gravities due to how their anatomy functions and is. So, some people prefer crotch rockets because they're completely leaning on it. Some people prefer to stand up, which is more like the dirt bike type of people. And then some people just like to cruise. So on an Harley, you need to spread your legs so wide apart because the cushion is so huge that you're almost doing the splits, you know? So it's really depends. So tell me in the live comment section, do a little bit of research. Do you think the electric vehicle is easier to ride or harder to ride in accordance to the specifications of an EV dirt bike? KV says there's a lot of gyroscopic inertia to gas motocross bikes. That's because, yeah, the liquid, I guess. You can feel the difference between a 250 and a 450. That's totally right, though. That's totally right. Because, okay, so a motorcycle, the way it's designed by all these crazy cool engineers and mechanics, it stands straight without you on it. You're the problem. You're the problem. So
you can see that with
yeah.
the race, you know, when the
exactly. With all races, when the guy falls off the motorcycle, it continues straight. And better than when the guy or the girl was on it. So motorcycles are designed to be able to ride straight in a straight line and stay like perpendicular to the road without you. So you're the problem. Yeah. That's why you need to make one with your motorcycle, because when you do that, then you're creating this kind of new gyroscopic center of gravity and you're okay. But if not, you're the problem. So you make the bike tilt or not. And like KV is saying, EVs don't have that. I was a pro motocrosser. See, we got real people. So cool. Thank you, KV, for being there. I mean, we also have another motocrosser right here. In terms of handling, so that means that, okay, it's already different between the amount of cc's that you have. It makes sense because, like, again, they're not designed the same way. They're not designed to go the same speed and the same torque. So, of course, they're not going to handle the same way. And as we'd say, EVs and gasoline would be completely different, right? So we're going to go through more things that would be completely different with an EV and a gasoline car. Max Power just went on to it. The loudness of the motorcycle is a safety feature. If an electric bike is silent, it will be more dangerous. That I totally agree with, because people really don't notice motorcyclists in general on the road. Especially with phones those days and texting and all that. So this is a definite yes. I mean, a Harley you can listen to like from miles and miles and miles, and that makes it more safe. But in the same sense, Max, I think that if you are going in the actual woods, or you're doing like a closed circuit like you would do for motocross, like dirt bike, then an EV would probably preferable. I know the guy behind you is not going to hear you, of course, we understand that as well, but then it's a closed circuit, so you could just like go, drop the bike, charge it, take another bike, and then continue, right? So I feel like this would be very, very interesting for hard enduro, so dual sport maybe, and dirt biking to have EVs, and definitely trial bikes, because it's such like a precision thing. So you wouldn't go for like hours and hours on, which you would with, I mean, a Harley. But there are Harleys that are actually electric vehicles, which makes it really interesting and really fun. No, I don't. It's too much stuff. Oh my God. Okay. So weight distribution, we talked about that. Yeah, so range anxiety would be... Thank you, Javier, for being my electric she searcher. Yeah, until I find another one. So right now, there are e-bikes that exist. There is EVs. There's KTM has a few electric bikes. I put them up here. So those are more like enduro/dirt bikes. They're there.
But they're not dual. They cannot go on the road.
These ones are not dual. These ones are not dual. The ones I have right here, they don't have flashers. See? No flasher.
You made some with flashers.
Just
That's my question.
okay. I don't know. I need to go Google it.
Okay.
Because when I click on model, they don't see, it doesn't click. So I'm kind of stuck there. There is Harley Davidson who makes actual EVs. It's called the LimeWire. And you know that guy from Star Wars? From the long way around? Well,
Why it's not the guys from Train Spotting?
that could be the guy from Trainspotting too. Depends on like which one you want. Well,
From Star Wars.
so they took the Harley Davidson electric because they asked BMW. They did not want to sponsor them. So that's the long story short from what I know. And they got the Lime. Well, I don't know if they got the LimeWire or the Del Mar, but they got the Harley Davidson. So Harley Davidson was pretty LiveWire, not LimeWire. Yeah, LimeWire. Like
Which one do they take? They took?
I don't know which one they took. I don't know. We need to Google that. So lime is that thing as a lemon. Yeah, I know LimeWire. You know, like the thing that you pirate songs from? I know this because I saw it on the internet, but never used it. So LiveWire. So LiveWire and Del Mar, those are Harley Davidson electric. And these guys from Long Way Round, they did take Harley Davidson electric because that was the whole point, right? And they even had a Rivian there to like support them and like battery and all that. From what I know, because I haven't watched the whole entire series.
Wait, how much is this?
I don't know. So discover. Let's go on price range. So that says $30,000 USD. Yeah, USD. The LiveWire. So that's pretty expensive for a bike, just in general, right? $30,000. And so what's the range? Let's go see this overview. 150 kilometers. So this is not a lot of range. It charges in 60 minutes. That's long. That's very long.
Can we use the Tesla
for the LiveWire. Does it supercharge? I don't know. It says DC fast charge, but does it say there's a little charging rates vary based up on output unit and ambient vehicle temperature. Okay, so it says fast charge, but it doesn't say supercharge, which is different. Okay, Honda has the riding assist bike. Okay, KV says follow stock future all electric 80 HP motocross bike that is better than 450 cc. Well, yeah, because you can't really calculate in cc, right? Because it's electric, so it's completely different. It's like calculating horsepower with an EV. It's a bit, you can, but it's a bit confusing, right? So then Douglas Downless says twice the price of a comparable MC and less range. Yeah, I know, exactly. So they're still pretty expensive. So that's what you need to look out for. But it's the range. The problem. If you're gonna buy a bike like this that actually goes on the road, 150 kilometers is really tight for long distances. That's gonna give you like maybe 40 minutes.
I think it's for working on Wall Street.
Yeah.
From, you know...
So you go, it's a city bike, right?
You live in Jersey, you go...
Yeah, it's a city bike. It's a city bike. And then, though, I do think that electric bikes, so if we go electric... dirt bikes.
Dirt bikes, it's just because it's your backyard. You know?
Well, because yeah, mostly when you dirt bike, it is your backyard or you're on a closed circuit, meaning that you could just swap bikes or recharge. But let's go see. So if we take, let's see the biggest one. That must be the biggest one. That's the little kid's one? Oh yeah, that's a child. Okay, wait. This one? Let's go see this one. Bridge circuit. So we're going to check how much the KTM is. Keep in mind, KTMs are already super expensive. Is that still a kid? No, maybe that's not a kid. He just has a chubby face like a kid. It looks like a kid, right?
We don't know. Oh, that's a kid.
That's a kid.
We saw a little kid.
But let's just see how... It's 27 kilos. This is teeny weeny. This is so tiny. Okay, I keep on clicking the kid thing. ultimate e-bikes, but they're all for kids. No, that's a grown adult. That's a man. Where are the man bikes? Okay, SE5 maybe? No, that's still a kid.
What? The one that,
I clicked on all of them. Which one?
That's still a kid thing.
There's all a kid thing.
Why?
Where are the non-kids bike?
The SX.
It's broken. It's broken.
It's broken.
Okay, everything is broken. Don't worry, people. It's fine. It's just broken. So that's just Piper's size. I'm tall. I'm literally tall. I'm like Canadian. I'm tall. I'm like 5'5.5". Okay, I'm not like 4'4". I would love to, but that's not how I am, unfortunately. I'm taller than that. I don't know why people think I'm so short.
Because on pictures you look shorter.
Because on pictures I look short?
I don't know.
Maybe that's why.
Is it?
I'm not short. I'm actually tall. I've been told I have tall person energy. If that helps you, from a person who saw me in real life. Yeah. In America, I'm surprised they haven't made a bike that just propels itself by continuously shooting bullets in the opposite direction.
Oh, wow.
That's a very interesting
Propulsion mode.
That's a very interesting propulsion mode. You should definitely talk to Elon Musk about this. Maybe the next Cybertruck will be propelled by your bullets. That'd be kind of cool though, right? So, that being said, I think I would certainly purchase an EV dirt bike. I think EV for dirt bike would be the best, and even hard enduro dirt bike would be the best. You just put it on the trailer, you go there, then you charge it, you have a battery pack or something.
When the battery's over, it's time to go back home.
Well, anyway, you're tired. I mean, after 20 minutes of hard enduro, you're tired. This is the way. Plus, I'm out of shape right now. It's been a while since I've done it. So I would say that would be the best. Again, as for what I've seen right now, right here, on motorcycles, like to go in Hawaii, rent a Harley to do Highway 66. I don't think I would take an EV bike for that. Again, sound and just like being able to put fuel in it all the time, that'd be a bit better for me. And then for crotch rockets, well, you're not supposed to go that fast. In general, you aren't. But I do feel that people want to go fast for a long period of time, though I would be okay with a crotch rocket being EV. I think it would be better. You know, there's no shifting, right? So you just go fast without shifting. And I think some people don't want to see motorcycles being EV because shifting is so much a part of the motorcycle culture, like the actual sound and the actual shifting. Yeah. So that is all I have to say about this subject. You have more to say, make sure that you leave a comment in the comment section. And if ever you missed the podcast or you want to hear all of our other podcasts, there's a podcast playlist. It's called While You Wait, and it's on our YouTube channel. Make sure that you go there and you click on it. Oh, yeah. There are jet-powered motorcycles. Yeah, but it's not because it exists that you should buy it or sit on it. Yeah, I saw this old guy, and he always does like rocket-propelled things, mostly bikes.